Hi, my name is Peter Lodesina, and I'm a product manager for the CA Email Control for the Enterprise solution. Today we're going to quickly go over some market trends and problems, and then we're going to focus on some product use cases within this demo. The average cost of a data breach is $7.2 million and has been growing over the recent years. 48% of data breaches have been caused by insiders. What exactly do we mean by an insider threat? Insider threats are categorized into three main groups: accidental, negligent, and malicious, with each posing a risk to the distribution of information that could significantly harm an organization. First, let's discuss accidental communications. This is your general mistyping or fat fingering of keys that mistakenly sends emails to unintended recipients. The next area is negligent communications. This is the blurring of the lines. Does the user know he or she is about to send something against policy or not? Is it okay to break the company policy if you're doing something with the proper business drivers in mind? This is a significant contributor to insider threat and accounts for 41% of data loss incidents. The last type is malicious communications. When people think of insider threats, they generally tend to think about malicious communications. This is when an employee intentionally does something wrong at the expense of the company. We're going to walk you through 5 use cases detailing each of these scenarios and how the CA email control for the enterprise can help solve these challenges and reduce communications risk to your organization. During this video, we'll walk you through 4 common email communication use cases that span accidental, negligent, and malicious intent, as well as an incident review use case. During use case 1, we'll cover the accidental distribution of sensitive executive language, in which a CEO sends sensitive financial information to his VP of sales, who then mistakenly forwards the CEO's email from his BlackBerry, risking shareholder value. Here Debbie, VP of Sales, checks her BlackBerry and sees an email from the CEO, Mike Allen. She opens it and sees that the CEO's claims are significantly negative in terms of financial results and organization expenditures. The CA email control for the enterprise's flexible policies enable the CEO to send this type of information to his direct reports. Debbie then proceeds to attempt to forward this email to her right-hand man, John Smith, but mistakenly mistypes his name and instead populates the recipient field for the entire sales team and hits send. Immediately, she receives a warning from the administrator stating that her email is against corporate policy. The email explains to Debbie that her email wasn't delivered and provides the rationale behind it. This was due to the language of the email and the identity of both the sender and the recipient. She receives a sigh of relief knowing that her email was not sent due to the risk and possible impact of shareholder value. In use case 2, we'll cover the accidental distribution of contract and billing information over email. This is another common example of where a user, this time using Microsoft Outlook webmail, mistakenly sends sensitive information to a contractor of the organization instead of the intended recipient. Here, Brian Mendoza, the VP of Operations, attaches a customer contract and billing information and sends it to his Director of Accounts Receivable, Debbie Patrick. Debbie opens the attachment and sees that it's the monthly customer contract and billing information. When she receives this monthly report, she always forwards it to June Arnold, so they stay in sync with regards to their customer status. Today, she has 15 things going on, and as she begins to type in June's name, she mistakenly selects Anita Hirsch as the recipient. Anita is a contractor and should not be receiving this information. She immediately receives a block advisory detailing why information is restricted from being sent. Upon opening the email from the administrator, Debbie determines that she made a mistake and that the CA email control for the enterprise blocked customer billing information from going to a contractor. In use case number 3, we'll review the negligent communication of Social Security numbers and account information in which an employee sends their personally identifiable information over to customer service representative, which is against corporate policy. Here, Debbie Patrick, an inside sales rep, sends a request that she didn't receive her disability check. June Arnold is responsible for payroll and requests that she send over her Social Security number and her account information. Debbie logs into her email and sees the incoming email from June Arnold. June apologizes for the inconvenience and wants to get this issue fixed as soon as possible. She requests that Debbie send over both her Social Security number and her bank routing number so she can get the funds transferred. Debbie, unaware of corporate policy, decides that she'll go ahead and do so. Upon sending the email, Debbie receives a warning from the administrator. As she opens the email, she learns that the CA email control for the enterprise is educating her on what the corporate policy is and gives her the option either to send or not to send the email. Debbie decides to adhere to the corporate policy and not send the email. She calls June to get the issue resolved. In use case number 4, we cover a malicious event in which a contractor hired to execute a telethon targeting customer prospects for a new software release intentionally requests customer information from a full-time employee so he could use it in his future job. Last night, Debbie and Wes, who's an inside sales contractor, had a fun night on the town, which included dinner and dancing. The next morning, Debbie woke up to find an email from Wes and giggled with fond memories from the previous night. Since Forward Inc. doesn't allow contractors to access full customer prospect lists, Wes requests a customer contact list from Debbie, who's a full-time employee. Even though Debbie knows that sending the full customer list to a contractor is against Corporate Inc.'s corporate policy, she goes ahead and decides to do it anyway. After all, Wes is now a close friend after the night they had last night, and there's no way that Debbie thinks Wes has any inappropriate intentions. Behind the scenes, Wes is picking up a new job at a competitor and decides he wants as many customer contacts as possible to use at his new job. Debbie immediately receives an email from the administrator, alerting her that her email has been blocked. As she opens the email, it reminds her that sending customer contact lists to contractors is against corporate policy. It's a good thing that Forward Inc. had the CA email control for the enterprise deployed in their environment. Maybe next time Debbie won't let a friendship cloud her ability to make the right decision. In use case 5, we'll review the Incident Review Dashboard. This is an interface where users can review all the activity that caused these policies to trigger in one single location. In this use case, we'll take a look back at some of the emails that triggered policies and give some insight on how it worked. This is the Incident Dashboard. Here's a macro view of the environment. From this dashboard, you can determine where your biggest areas of risk are, what policies are triggered most often, and performance over time. In this example, we're going to drill down into the events that triggered the Social Security number policy. Here you can see all the events that triggered the Social Security number policy. Let's take a deeper look into the event that triggered use case number 3. You can see in the left-hand pane that the Social Security number and the account number were the keywords that triggered this policy. In the middle of this pane, you can see low severity. An example of a high severity Social Security number issue would be if somebody was to send the entire company's Social Security numbers external to the organization without having the file encrypted. In the right-hand pane, you can see that no action was taken yet. From this screen, the reviewer has the option to approve the issue or do other things, such as reply to the person who sent the email to get more details or even escalate it to security. Now we're going to look into the details of what triggered the first use case by drilling down into one of our many out-of-the-box reports. For this example, in the left-hand pane, you can see who sent the email and who the recipients of the email were. This is extremely important to determine whether or not an email should be sent. As I mentioned during use case 1, it's okay for the CEO in this company to send this information to his direct reports, but it's not okay for his direct reports to send it out to an audience such as the sales organization. And that's the conclusion of this presentation. Thank you for joining me as we walk through different email communication scenarios that put businesses at risk every day. But remember, these are only examples and can easily be translated into specific use cases that fit your business need. Good luck moving forward in solving your email information challenges.